Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. Alright, you might recall a couple videos ago I began preparing for what happens after I pass. I went out and got my cemetery plot all plotted out, and there's actually 3 more parts that I need to do on all this and to be completely ready for when that time comes, hopefully many years in the future. I have to get a headstone, I need to get my will taken care of, and I need to also figure out what I'm going to do about a casket. So that's going to be some of the upcoming videos, but we're going to tackle one of those today. We're going to go out and I'm going to see if I can find myself a headstone. Now, there's a couple of companies that sell headstones right in front of the cemetery. Yeah, you go where your customers are, right? So I'm going to go check them out. I actually have something kind of in mind that I'd like to do that's kind of a custom piece. And so I'm going to see what these companies can do for me. And hopefully one way or another, we're going to make a decision today. So come along, this is going to be interesting. Okay, this is one of the first memorial companies that I found here. You can, like I said, they just got these memorials out here in front of the shop here, right backed up to the cemetery, so it almost looks like it belongs here. Now, like I said, I've got something kind of custom I'd like to do, and so I want to see which, if any of these companies are willing to do something custom for me. But I want to kind of I want to talk to each of them first, because the cemetery themselves, they wouldn't recommend one over the other. They said there's like 3 of them in the area and they're all good. You look at them, you decide what you want. So they did say that there was some guy that like went around in like a truck or something like that and sold stuff out of the back of his truck, and they recommended I not deal with him. So they said anybody that has a physical address though is probably going to be pretty good. They can do lots of engraving on the memorials, so yeah, if I was a fisherman, yeah, that would be one we could consider. See, it looks like a lot of these are just blanks. And so I guess I can pick from each of these. But like I said, the question is, can they do something custom for me? And I guess one of the questions I have is, do they actually manufacture them here, or do they kind of buy them to order? Because it's kind of a little teeny tiny place. But, maybe if you're only doing, if you have maybe a bunch of them where most of the time people just want kind of just want to pick something out of the collection here and say, oh yeah, I like that one, or oh, I like that one, that's fine. And maybe they keep a bunch of those in inventory somewhere. But, definitely what I'm thinking about from a custom standpoint, though, could maybe be fabricated here. So, I think I want to kind of go in and see what they got. So I'm going to go in and talk to them, and I'll give you a report in just a couple of minutes. All right, so I have finished talking to the person at Deeps, and they seem like they're very capable of doing what I'd like to do. Let me actually explain to you a little bit what I want to do. You see, I've been thinking about what I want to have for a grave marker, because I kind of want it to reflect who I am and some of the things that I'm into. And one of the things I'm really into is, of course, as you know, rocks and minerals. And so I've been thinking it'd be really cool, and I think this has also kind of come up from some of the live streams when we've talked about this a little bit, that I should do something with a rock, try and find like a big amethyst cathedral or something. Well, it turns out the cemetery won't let me do that. I'm stuck with 2 minerals. It's either got to be this granite kind of stuff or bronze. They can do bronze statues. So I couldn't do like a quartz piece or something like that. But what I can do is, what I was hoping to have them do is fabricate something that looks like a piece of quartz in black like this. And I actually brought in a piece of quartz crystal to show what it looks like, and let them, I had drawn it up at home, and so I knew kind of what I wanted it to look like. And they seem to think, yeah, we can probably do that. They just have somebody in Austin, I guess, that that does this kind of stuff and ships it down. And you know, we talked about the pedestal it would go on. The pedestal can only be 36 inches wide for a single crypt like mine, so that kind of defines then how wide the monument itself can be. And I decided to want the monument to be, you know, between 36 and 40 inches tall, shaped like a quartz crystal at a slight angle. And like I said, I brought in an image of this, and in fact I'll show you that in the video here because I still have it, and let's just see what it looks like. And you know, they asked all the right questions about it, and like I said, I was given my choice of the material, and they had something that was just a jet black. I'm not sure if that's the jet black or if they've got an example of that out here. But like I said, I got a quote going. Maybe it's that piece. Maybe that piece is sort of like the jet black. But can you imagine a quartz crystal piece looking, you know, that looks like that? Well, you know, with that color, I think that'll look awesome. So, like I said, there's a couple other monument manufacturers in the immediate area, and I want to go check them out next. So, let's keep going. So, this is another memorial company. This is the Fix Memorial, and you know, it looks like they got a lot of the same stuff. I'm guessing they're going to probably have a lot of the same abilities. I kind of like that. Look at the texture on that. That's really cool. And so, oh, look, there you got one with a cowboy boot. That one's kind of gothic. And then of course they got the flat ones on the ground. See, I'm wondering if they do a lot of the shaping here, because looks like they got a lot of the stones right there. But gonna kind of look, you know, like I said, I think I see a lot more customization on from this company over the other one. Last roundup. That's kind of cool. And I guess what they do is they just polish these off and then they sandblast them to create the image. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, let's go in and talk to them. All right, I gotta say I'm not as encouraged with these guys. The other guys seemed really excited about this and thought that they could very easily do it. These guys, I think they can do it, but it doesn't sound like what they're proposing is gonna happen quickly, because they're talking, you know, the piece that I'm looking at is gonna be like 18 inches thick, and they don't usually work with something that thick. So they were talking about having to go to India and get the piece custom made for them. That doesn't sound like that's going to be either cheap or fast, but you know, I gave them my information. They know what I want. The woman looked at me kind of like I had a leg sticking out of my forehead, but whatever, you know. We're gonna see what they could do, and give them a little time to give me a quote, and let's see what happens. So I think there's one other monument company around here. I gotta go try and figure out where they are, because I thought all of them were right next to each other. Turns out this one here is about a half a mile down the road from the cemetery, and I've only seen two of them. So I think there's a third one, so we're gonna try and find them, and let's see what they can do. All right, so I wasn't able to find the third monument company, but I'm going to stick with, I think, what I got on the two, and let's see what they can come up with. And I decided just to kind of come back out here. You can kind of look around, you can see there's a huge variety of you know, sizes and shapes of stones, so I didn't think there'd be any problem whatsoever doing something odd like I was doing here, like I'm thinking about. But because I mean, you can see there's all sorts of odd things going on here. You know, yeah, you got more traditional monuments like that, but then you got like this one here, and some of these here. Look at these; these are pretty cool. Check out that one. That looks like that's just limestone. Yeah, that's limestone. See, I wouldn't want to do the limestone, I think, because limestone isn't going to hold up real well. It's a very soft stone. You can see how weathered it is already. You know, the granite's going to hold up for a while. But actually, that one doesn't look like it's held up that bad. It looks like it's been there since 1899. That's not too bad. But one of the things you run into also with limestone is it tends to attract moss, and then that makes everything kind of turn black, especially on the side facing away from the sun. (1916). Agnes Taylor, wife of Frank Mann. But where's Frank Mann? I don't know. Guess he's somewhere else. New edition, I guess. I guess I saw that when I was here last time. There's another one here that's actually a couple of them looks like that have come in recently, where the ground is a little bit opened up a bit here. Thought you weren't supposed to put little figurines and stuff like that. I wonder if that's permanently attached to the marker. No, that's just loose. Surprised they're allowing that to happen. The flags supposedly aren't allowed either. Except I guess maybe around military holidays. U.S. Marine Corps, 1949-2007. It's just watered, Grandpa. That's funny. See, I want to kind of put. I haven't figured out yet what the text on mine is going to be, but I want to kind of do something that, you know, kind of summarizes who I am. So we'll be thinking about that at some point, and figuring out how I want to decorate all this and all that, all the options I have available to me. Look at that one. That one's pretty. Womack. Dr. Thomas Womack. Got to get to know the neighbors, right? Died in 1908. And I guess his wife, who went way longer, she went to 1947. 1865 to 1908, that's only, what, 43 years? See, that's got to be more limestone, because that's horribly weathered too. Yeah, that feels like limestone. Yeah, see, that's why, you know, limestone is really plentiful out here, but... Oh, just a kid too, and this one died, 16 years old. So yeah, this is a really trippy little place. This is a great place, I think, for my final resting place here. Like I said, when I was out here picking out my plot, the thing I really liked about this place is all the history. And the truth is, I wouldn't have any idea which cemetery I wanted to be buried at if I hadn't been doing all the vlogging and done so many cemetery vlogs and been out here so many times and seen all the great history that's out here. I'm told that one of these big ones here is actually a former governor of Texas from like the 1800s. Now, I think I visited this before. These two are kind of a couple monuments that really kind of catch your attention. And it's kind of interesting because over on this side, this guy was a very early doctor in Waco, and actually was a large part of bringing some of the modern medical science to Texas. In fact, he was also a doctor, and ultimately was in charge of a couple of insane asylums. He got involved in very early on in psychiatry, and was helping a lot of people here, and so they recognized him. There's actually even a historical marker here. I guess this isn't really, yeah, I guess it is. It's a Texas historical marker. Talks about who he is, and right across from him is this guy here, and this guy actually was a former governor in Texas. Yeah, see, Richard Koch, characterized by a splendid manhood, the brave soldier, the able and impartial judge, the enlightened and patriotic governor, the distinguished senator in Congress for 18 years, always true to the people and faithful to every trust. So yeah, he was governor in the 1800s. This is actually where he is. This is just kind of the general marker, I think, that is maybe the farmer or the family marker, and but that's where he actually is. And other members of the Koch family, A.E. Koch and M.V. Koch. Let's see, does it say anything else about them? No. M.V. Koch. Okay, M.V. Koch is, I don't know, just acknowledges an A.E. Koch. That was the other one. Okay, that's Emma E. Koch, born 1856, died 1856. Newborn baby, didn't last long. This one too. Look at that. April 9, 1861, died November 11th, 1862. Didn't even make it to 2. Guess there was some tragedy in that family. I think sometimes we forget how easy we have it now with our modern medical technology. Look at these. Try and get a different angle here so I can not get washed out by the sun here. I think that's marble. That looks like marble. I don't think I'd want to go marble out here either. Marble's really soft also. But I guess these have held up pretty well. 1843 to 1882, so it's been here for 140 years. I don't know, maybe I'm just wrong on this marble thing. Yeah, how could anyone complain about my little quartz crystal shaped cemetery marker when there's something like this here? Charles George Smith and Cornelia Marshall Smith. Strange cosmic curve, integral arc of space, unrolling rhythm swinging out from the time into eternity. From Trajectory, a poem by Charles G. Smith. I guess that's him. So, yeah, he was a poet, I guess. I do remember when I was coming out here to pick out the plot, I had just told the guy that I love the history of this place. So he started pointing out different significant people were in here. He pointed this one out, and I remember him saying something about this guy being somebody. I don't remember what it was, but I guess based on what the marker says, he was a poet. It's funny, they got a number of these where they got these little borders around it where, you know, it's just a family plot, and like the whole family is here. There's a lot of these out here. A lot of times it's just bordered by these little pyramid shaped things, because there's one there and one there, but sometimes they actually put in the concrete borders, kind of creating the boundary of the family plot. I don't know where the marker is here. It's probably the tree is just considered the border. It's funny, I kind of learned a little bit about this whole process today when I was going through picking out my monument, because the piece that I got is going to be, what, 30 inches wide, between 36 and 40 inches tall, and 18 inches thick. So it's going to be a massively heavy piece. And they have these bases that they put the monument on. So they put the base on there, and then they set the monument on top of that. Well, the larger and heavier the monument is, the thicker the piece has got to be. So, you know, usually, you know, a typical one for a typical marker like this one here might just be 4 or 6 inches thick. But they're talking the possibility that the one I'm looking at maybe 8 or even 10 inches thick. So they're going to actually kind of quote me all that out and figure out how that's all going to work. See, there's not supposed to be any kind of decorations put here, but I think it's like, you know, they still seem to have stuff here. So I don't know, maybe if it's low key, maybe if it's one of those things that you can put on the base here, maybe that's different from sitting on the ground. I think a lot of it, in addition to trying to make things not look tacky out here, this is kind of supposed to be kind of a dignified and solemn place here. I think also they want to kind of keep the grounds clear so they can get in here and, you know, do the mowing and keep the grounds you know, looking good. So I don't know, first time doing this, so we're just kind of making it up as we go along here. All right, so I think I've wrapped up everything I want to do today. We got a couple of quotes out. Hopefully I'll get those in the next few days and see where we are on that, figure out what this is going to cost, and we'll go forward with that. Now, I'm told even under the best situation, this is going to maybe take a year for them to get made. So it may be a while, maybe even longer if they're going to that place in India to get it made. So we'll kind of keep you up to date on how that goes. But that's step 2 of my 4-step plan to get ready for what comes after. And I think we're done with that. So thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.